Charlie. Charlie, you are the first today. Let's see who is our first user. Julia. Hello, Julia. And welcome to join our ProtoPie workshop. Jasmine, welcome. And Youngju, welcome. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, so today we will learn how to use ProtoPie and with more advanced features. And so it's time to start. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen? Oh, sorry. Okay, share my screen. This is my screen. Can you guys see my screen? I think it should be a ProtoPie file. Can you guys see it? Gina said yes. Okay, Jasmine also said yes. Thank you. Okay, now I will share my screen. Cool. Okay, welcome everyone to today's workshop, and this is our second workshop. So before this, did you guys attend our last workshop, beginner workshop? Or just my yes? Yep, yeah, you were there. How about others? Or if you haven't joined, how did you use the ProtoPie before? Summer, yes, nice to see you again. Okay, because today we will continue on from what we learned about last time. So that means it will be a little difficult than last time. So if you don't understand some basic points, I recommend you to watch the recording video of the last workshop. You can find it in the chat window. Gina, my partner Gina, just share it in the chat window. And also same, even you don't understand some basic things during the workshop, you can also ask me in the Q&A window. So I will keep monitoring if there are any new questions in the Q&A window. Yeah, hello, Amit. Now let's start our intermediate workshop. So before we start today's workshop, let's quickly go through what we learned last time. So last time we introduced the conceptual model of ProtoPie, saying that all interactions are composed of triggers, objects, and responses. So in ProtoPie, what we do is we provide all those triggers and responses to you. And as designer, what you need to do just combine them like a piece of Lego to create interactions. And during beginner workshop, intermediate, and also our last advanced workshop, we will learn about how those interaction pieces. And at last workshop was our first workshop. We learned about those basic triggers and the responses throughout those 5 demos. So maybe for someone who didn't join, I will just show you what we made together last time. Looping, slide menu, how to jump to other pages, make like click through interactions. And also you can open the real link on your real device, and also some basic interactions like scroll and paging. Today, we will learn more powerful, but of course it's more difficult features, so such as chain, range, condition, and more. So to understand these features, we will make a few demos together, like what we did at the last workshop. So today we will make 5 demos together. And the first demo is a camera. So we will learn how to open your camera and switch your camera and take a picture. Second one is when you swipe your page, how to make the navigation bar can move at the same time. And third one is same when I paging my pages, how can I change the title? And first one is typing. So how can you use your native keyboard to make a typing interactions? And for the last one is I will base on what we made for the typing and give a more logical, more complicated interactions. For example, ask users, you have to set up your password more than maybe 6 characters. So we will use camera and learn how to use formula today. Okay, now it's time to download your Pi file first and open it. So even you joined the last workshop, please also download this new source file because we add some more design and access more scenes into it. And same, you can find the link in the chat window, the Gina shared. And after you open it, you can click the download button and download the Pi file. Let me know when you are ready, when you open your Pi file in the chat window. Okay, Songju said, oh, he is ready. Okay, cool. When you are ready, next one, please do, the next action is, please connect your ProtoPie Studio with your ProtoPie player. So ProtoPie player is an application you can download in your phone or laptop. We introduced the ProtoPie player at our first workshop. We said you can connect your ProtoPie player with your studio by 2 ways. One is QR code, one is USB cable. So if you don't have a download or install the ProtoPie player yet, please go to Google Player or App Store and search ProtoPie player. And after it downloaded, you can use a USB cable to connect your phone with your computer. Or you can also click this device icon in your ProtoPie Studio, and then you will find a QR code. Then use your ProtoPie player, scan it. The 2 ways you can connect ProtoPie player. So let me know when you are ready for ProtoPie player in the chat window. Wow, you're always the fast one. Youngju, yeah. Youngju is ready. Cool. Youngju, did you join our last workshop, the beginner workshop? Really? Oh. Did you use the ProtoPie before? Oh, cool. Aaron is ready. Cool. Let's wait for 2 more people. 2 more people if they are ready for ProtoPie player, and then I will move to our demo, first demo. Charlie is ready. Summer is ready. Cool. Oh, just my also ready. Cool. Now please open your Pi file. And then as you can see, we already have some scenes. Maybe you call it pages, but in ProtoPie we call it scene. And also you can find some interactions we already added into this Pi file. Those things we learned at the last workshop. So, but today we won't use them. So that's why I just grouping them by using the keyboard Command and J, Command and G. And then you can grouping them and rename this group. So today we won't use them. And now please jump to the camera page. Fredo is also here. Camera, please jump to the camera scene. Okay, so first demo we will make together is take a picture. So in ProtoPie, if you want to open your real camera on your device, what you need to do just two steps. One is add a camera layer here, as you can see. And second one is go to the property panel and check this one, auto start. So auto start means when you jump to this page, when you jump to this scene, the camera will be opened automatically. But sometimes maybe you want to give it an interaction or give it a trigger, and then you want to open your camera. In that case, you don't need to check it. So these two steps is the fast way to open your real device. And then when you open the preview window, as you can see, you can't really open your desktop camera because we only support your real camera for the device who will install the ProtoPie player. So that's why I recommend you guys to contact ProtoPie player with Studio. So now what you need to do is click this Run button. Click it, and then you will see your prototype is synced to your ProtoPie player. This is my phone. I'm mirroring my phone screen. So if you did this two step, then you can open your phone as me. Oh, Charlie already made the camera interactions. Cool. Okay, so this is the one thing you need to do is if you want to open your real camera, you need to use your camera, add a camera layer. Okay, and next one is when you want to make any interactions relate to camera, in ProtoPie, we have a response called camera. So with this response, you can open your camera or you can switch your camera from front to rear or rear to front. And also you can stop. So stop means take a picture. So this is the camera. So when the in ProtoPie, the whole features relate to a camera, there are only two. One is camera layer, another one is camera response. And now let's make a real prototype. So first one, I want to adjust the camera layer as my advanced size, device size, and then move it to the back of my screen. So in this way, you can see the buttons. And I want to add two interactions to these two buttons. So first one is when I tap this switch button, then I want to switch my camera. So in this case, you need to find out who is trigger first, right? What we learned last time. So in this case, the trigger is tap, and the object is the switch camera. And of course, you want to tap it in with your one finger. But of course, you can try to 5, but this icon is not big enough. So I recommend you choose 1. And then find out who should be your response. So as I said, there are only one response related to camera action. So add the camera response. For the camera response, you can only assign the camera layers into it. So in this demo, we only have one camera layer. So that's why I can only select the camera one. And what kind of actions you want to give to this camera one? You can choose start or stop or switch. So in this case, because I'm giving an interaction to the switch camera button, so that's why I want to set it to switch. So action is a start and the camera is a switch. And now send it to your ProtoPie player. By the way, if you want to refresh your prototype on your ProtoPie player, you can use your 2 fingers and double tap your screen at the same time. And then you will see this setting window, and you can restart, stop, or save the Pi file. So here is a restart. Okay, so when I tap it, oh, as you can see me. And then if I tap it again, the camera will switch again. Do you have any questions about the switch interaction? You cannot switch. Check your tap trigger object. Did you give the right object to the tap trigger? And second one, please check, did you set up the camera to switch this action? And then it should work. Did you guys make it? Oh, cool. Arius is said his prototype is worked. So yes, cool. And now let's move to the next workshop. Yeah, sorry, next interaction. So next interaction is when I tap this button, I call this shutter button. When I tap it, of course, I want to take a picture, right? So same, find out the trigger in this situation. So trigger is tap, and object is a shutter with 1 finger. And response, same, I need to use camera because I want to take a picture. This action is related to camera, but in ProtoPie, we only have one action, one response related to camera action. And same, select the camera 1 layer. However, this time, of course, we need to choose stop instead of start, right? And run it on your phone. Let's see what will happen. Oh, today I didn't make up, so I won't show my face to you guys. Please let me know, did you take a good picture, a beautiful, pretty picture for yourself? Works, cool. And did you guys find we have an audio file on this in this scene? So in ProtoPie, you can also you make media interactions like a video or audio, play it or stop it or pause it. So in ProtoPie, when you click this media again, this layer from the left up corner, then you will find we support video and audio. So that means we support like MP3 or MP4 and also WAV and other formats. And currently what I add here is an audio file. And this audio file is a camera sounds, snap sounds effect. So when I take a picture, I want to play this audio. The trigger of it is when I tap this button, right? So I can keep using the same trigger I made before. So it's the same trigger tap. But response, this time I need to use the playback. So for in ProtoPie, when you want to make an interaction relate to media layers, no matter it's video or audio, then you need to use playback this response. And when you select it, same, you can only assign audio or video layers to this response. So that's why you only have one option of this object list. And for actions, we support three kinds of actions. So play means start play your audio or play videos, and pause means just pause. And after pause, if you start play it again, that means it will keep playing, not go back to the beginning and start. So if you use pause, just like when we watch a video, it will start play the place you stop it. And the seek means you can jump to the specific time. So for me, for this audio file, you can find the runtime at the top of the property panel. It's showing me this file's length is less than 1 second. And based on this, you can set up what specific time you want to jump to. Okay, so in this case, of course, I need to use play, right? Play, because I want to play my sound effect. And now send it to your phone and try again, then I think this audio will work. If you can't hear the sound, please check your phone. Did you the media volume is, did you volume up enough? Okay, cool. Actually, this is we already finished our first demo. The first demo is related to the camera. It's very simple. You just need to remember you need a camera layer and use a camera response. And also we learned how to use the media layers and how you can play an audio or video. Do you have any questions related to our first demo? Everything goes well? Or maybe you guys are bidding to try more functions. Cool. Just my said awesome. Cool. This is the very easy demo we made today. Next one is will be a little difficult. Next demo, we need to jump to the onboarding page. So when you jump to this page and open the preview window, you can see we already add the paging interactions into it. And this is what we learned at the last workshop. So what we did is we create a scroll container, paging container, and then put the three images into it. And then we can scroll several pages. But currently you cannot see another two images. The reason why is when you select this paging container and go to the bottom of its property, you can see the click sublayer. This option is checked. So if you cancel it, then you can see the whole contents included in this paging container. So please cancel it. Okay. So the first demo, sorry, now is a second demo, right? Second demo we will make is when I scroll it, I want this navigation bar could be moved together. So in this case, we need to use chain. But before we learn how to use chain, we need to understand what chain it is. So I'd like go back to my deck and explain more about chain first. So the function of the chain is when a particular property of an object changes, it will affect another property continuously. So in this case, the Y position of the red layer on the left is changing, right? So you can see the touch button on it. So that's my finger. I'm dragging it, and then its position is changing. But when its Y position changing, you can see the size of the blue layer also changing. So that means the Y position can affect the size of my blue layer, because I didn't, my finger is not touching the scale, the blue layer. I'm touching the red layer, but because of the red layer's position changing, it affect another layer's scale changed. So that is a chain. So the chain is affection to properties, and this affection is happening continuously. And think about the ProtoPie conception model. We said we need to figure out what is triggers, responses when we use ProtoPie to create interactions, right? So in this case, who is the trigger? Who is response? Do you know? Who is the trigger? Who is the response? The trigger is the Y position changing. Yes, the blue is a response, but blue, this layer is object. So object is not a response. The scale changing of the blue layer is the response. Yes, Aaron, you're correct. So in this case, right, the Y position is a trigger, and the scale, another property changing is response. And to help you to understand the logic of chain, I prepared this demo. So as you can see, when I finger change, according to the position of my fingers, the position and the size of this panda's eyes, mouth, nose, and ears will change. And in this case, the changing of my finger's position is a trigger, right? And based on where my finger it is, my eyes, mouth, their properties are changing. So the changes in the eyes or mouth, those layers are the responses. And in this case, and also the example in the previous page, if my finger speed is reduced, then the eye's movement will also be slower. So this is also a point when you figure out what is chain. So I said chain means one properties changing will affect another properties, will affect another properties continuously. That's one is the point you need to understand with chain. Another one is because of they are effect to each other. That's why when I change my speed of my triggers change, and then my movement, my response speed will be also changed at the same time. So the speed of them always are same. Now let's go back to our demo. So in this demo, what we want to do is scroll the page from first page to the second page. Then I want the navigation dock could be moved at the same time. So in this case, we need to use chain. Why? Because those two actions, they happened at the same time, and trigger is my scrolling, right? My scroll distance or my scroll offset is affecting my position of the dock. And if I scroll my page slowly, then the dock will also move slowly. So that's why we need to use chain. And now please go back to your Pi file and make this, let's make this prototype together. So first, as I said we need to use chain trigger, but use chain trigger after that, you need to set up the property of it. So here, chain is a trigger, and who is trigger? Which properties changing is a trigger? In this case, it should be this paging containers scroll offsets changing. Please remember, in this case, don't choose X position because the paging containers X position doesn't change, but the scroll offset changed, right? And when my paging scroll offset changed, then I want this main indicator. The position should be changed. So the response is a move because it will move. And after add move, you will find a new interface. We haven't seen it before. So here you can find the mapping. Mapping is telling us we are mapping the scroll of the paging container with the movement of the main indicator, this layer. And then you will find the range 1. So range 1 here means the 0 means before I scroll it, so the scroll distance is 0. I didn't do anything. I don't do anything for this paging container. So that's initial state is 0. And then when I scroll to the second page, I want this layer's position could be changed, right? So when I scroll to the second page, how much did I scroll? You need to know that number. So this number should be 375, but why it's 375? It's because when we scroll the page from first page to the second page, the distance between those two layers, two images, is 375. It's the same as my device. So that's why I can know the answer, the number is 375, right? So this here, when this layer here is a 395, right? When he moved to this position, it scrolled 375 this distance. And here we need to type in the position of the main indicator. And before I start scroll the page, what the position of this main indicator, we need to figure it out. So as you can see here at the top of your property, you can find the position is 0, 0. So that's why I typed the 0, 0. And when I scroll to the second page, this indicator should move to the second indicator, this place. And what this place, the position is, so we can know is a 40, 0, right? 40, 0. And also, actually, you can know first position is 0, 0, second one is 40, 0, and third one is 80, 0. So when you select the second indicator and press the Option key on your keyboard, you can see the distance between each layers. So now it's told me their distance is 40. So here, when I move to scroll to the second page, this indicator should move to the 40, 0. Now please check it on your preview window. You can see ProtoPie can mapping the initial state and the ending state, and also the middle state. So when I scroll very slowly and maybe to the, before I jump to the second page, you can see the navigation bar will also move with my finger together, with my scrolling together. So ProtoPie only need to know, when you set the range, ProtoPie only need to know the start value and the ending value, and then ProtoPie will mapping the middle animations automatically for you. Okay, now let's try to make the second chain range is when we scroll from the second page to the third page. So same, first click this plus button, and this time is from second page, right? So the second page, the scroll offset of it is 375. We already figured it out before. And when we scroll to the third page, it should be double of 375, right? So it's 750. And the position of my indicator, the initial state is 40 and 0, and then it will move to the 80, 0. And now it should work. Did you guys finish it? Did you get the same interaction as me? Erin, Charlie, yes, yes, cool. Okay, and here I'd like to give you a tip. So please look at these two ranges, range 1 and range 2. Did you find this end value is totally same as the second range's initial value? So actually what we can do is combine them. As I said, ProtoPie only need to know the start value and ending value. So what we can do is type in 0, 0. First page, when I scroll to the first page, is 0, 0. And next one is when I scroll to the third page, it is 750. And here is 80 and 0. So with the range 3, I just combine them and then delete range 1 and range 2. And then check it on your preview window. You will find the interaction is same, totally same. So this is a tip. So when you made a chain, you don't need to figure out each state. You just need to know the first state and the last state and set up one range. Okay. Do you have any questions about the range? Sorry. Do you have any question about the chain? Okay, after I made this chain interaction, actually I want to make one more, I want to give more details for it. So what I want to do is when I tap this navigation bar, I want the page could be scroll to the page. For example, when I tap the second indicator, I want it could be scroll to the second page automatically. And when I tap the third one, I want it can scroll to the third page. So in this case, what should I do? First, same, I need to figure out the trigger, right? So of course the trigger is tap. And the object, first, let's make the second page scroll first. So when I tap the second indicator, tap it with one finger, then I want this page can scroll to the second page. So in this case, the response, I can use scroll response. Use a scroll response. Why I didn't use move? Because as I said before, when we use paging container or scroll container, the position of the container doesn't change, but scroll offset is changed. So that's why we need to use a scroll response instead of move response. When I tap it, I want to scroll to the second page. The object is a paging container and scroll to. Here you need to give it a number. So when we jump to the second page, it's a scroll to 375. Right? And now let's try. When I tap the second one, second indicator, as you can see, the paging has scrolled. The three indicators is too small to tap them. So what I want to do, what I can do here is select them, out of them, and then go to the property panel. You can find the touch area, this option. So that means you can expand the touchable area. So maybe give it 10. Then as you can see, the area I can touch must be bigger. But in this case, I think 10 is too big, maybe only 5. 5 is better. Yeah, 5. And now let's try again. So when I tap second one, it's easier to tap, right? And when we make third one, same. Give it type trigger and the scroll response to the paging container. And this time it should scroll to the 750. So second page, third page. And don't forget to make the first tap. First, when I tap the first indicator bar, I also can go back to the first page, right? So select the first indicator, this layer, tap it, and scroll. This time it should scroll to the 0. And in ProtoPie, you can double tap your triggers or responses pieces to rename them. So maybe this one is a tap first one, and this one is a tap third bar, and this one is a second bar. Okay, so now I have a question to you guys. I'd only set up the tap and the scroll this interaction, right? But why when I tap those indication bars, this main indication bar, why it moves? I didn't make the interactions here, right? But why does it move? Do you guys know? What I expect is only when I tap it, the page will scroll. But currently the page is scrolled, but the main indicator also moved. Yes, correct. Yes, Jasmine said because we are using chain trigger, right? So when I tap it, this paging container scroll distance will change, and when it changed, it will keep affecting my main indicators position because we made this chain. So through this example, you can know this chain is always work. For this tap or other like a double tap, they only work when you really tap it or double tap it. But this chain, once you made it, it will always work. When this scroll, when the property is changing, this trigger will also work and the response will always work. Cool. Do you have any questions about chain? If not, let's move to range. So with the range is our third demo. When I scroll my pages, I want the title can change. And this time we need to use range. Before we make it same, let's go back to my deck and I'd like to explain more about range. Okay, so range is another conditional trigger in ProtoPie, and the range means when one object's property value enters or leaves a certain range, then a property will change. So in this case, for example, you can see the X position when it's over this line, then the scale will be bigger, right? So let's say this X position is 100. When I drag my layer over the 100, X position over the 100, at that moment, I want its scale can be changed. So this is a range, and this interaction happened uh, at a moment. And do you remember we played a game at the beginning of the last workshop? So I show you guys two demos, and I ask what the difference between them. Do you remember the difference? The left one, you can see this movement, this dog's movement is happening at the same time when I scroll my page. So if I scroll my page slowly, this dot will also move slowly. But the right one is when I scroll to the next page, then after that, this dot will move. And the movement, the speed of its movement doesn't relate to my finger's speed, doesn't relate to my scroll speed. So the left one, two properties changing, the scroll offsides changing and the position changing, they affect continuously. However, the left one is just affect at a specific moment. Because only when I jump to my second page, then this dot will move. At that moment, at the moment when I jump to the second page, then this dot will quickly move to the second position. So when I made the two, not me, our other designers made this, they used the chain for the left one and range for the right one. Okay, so we discussed what the chain and the range and what's the difference between chain and range. Now let's take a practice. So could you guess which trigger was used for the temperature bar and the number changing? In this case, which trigger I used? Songting said it's chain. Ahmed said chain. How about others? Same. Charlie also said chain. Yes, correct. We use the chain in this case. And why? How do you know we use the chain? Because as you can know, when I change this height of my bar, the height of my bar will affect the scroll distance of my temperature. Actually, this scroll interaction, I use the scroll responses in it. And those two properties, they have a relationship, right? And also if my finger move slower or faster, the speed of it will also affect the scrolling effect, scrolling speed. So that's why you can know I use the chain in this case. Yeah, just my set slide. Yes, this is a slide. This is a drag and the height changing, right? Yes, color also changing. Yeah, you're right, Ahmed. And how about this one? This one is a more complicated one. So as you can see, when I scroll to some specific position, oh, I give you too many hints. As you can see, the text and the picture will appear slower than the my scrolling action, right? They will appear slower. So in this kind of interaction, we call it parallax. It's very common interaction for websites. In this case, which trigger we used? Do you know that? Wow, Songting said chain and range. Amit said range. Wow, I did 3 workshops until today, and it's the Songting is the first person said we use the both of them. Yes, the answer yes. The answer is we use the both of them. So Amit, you are also correct. We use the range. So where we use the range, when the text appeared, right? When it's appeared is when I scroll to the specific range. Maybe let's say when I scrolled 1,000, and at that moment, my text and my pictures should be shown. And at that moment, my the paging scroll speed is different between with my text or pictures move speed. However, when after it's appeared, I will keep scrolling my page, right? And then those pictures and text will move with my scroll with the same speed. So the scroll, that part, after it's appeared, it will keep move. That part we use the chain. Yeah, so that's why I said it's a complicated case. So we use the both. Now let's jump to our demo and made the title change this interaction together. So let's think about the logic first. So the range is when I jump to the second page, is the 375, right? When the scroll offset is equal to 375, then the title will change to trigger. However, when you after add this chain, and I will select this paging containers scroll, you cannot find the equal this logic because it's a range, it's not a point. So what I can do is I cannot use the first one. For example, I give it when it's over 375. If I give this member bigger or equal to 375, that means when I move to the second page, it will work. But however, I will keep moving. I will move to the third page. It's also over 375. But at that moment, I want to give it a different response. So that's why I can't not use bigger or equal to. I have to give it a range. And what the range it should be. The perfect number is 375. So the range should be the 375, this number should be included into this range. So what I want to do, just -1 and the +1, 375 +1. And why I -1, why I don't -2 or 5? Actually, that is depends on you. For users, they cannot figure out the 1 pixel or 2 pixels. What I want to do, just make sure the 375, that number is in this period, right? So -1 or -2, -5 is fine. But of course, -100 will be too big. That's maybe different from what I want to make the interaction. So here I give it 375 and -1 and +1. And when I scroll to the second page, I want this title text could be changed. So that's why I give it text response. And the contents should be trigger. So just type the contents here. And then as you can see, when I scroll to the second page, the title will be changed to trigger. How about the third page? It won't change, right? So that means we need to add another range. So another range, you can just add them one by one. But for me, I prefer to use the copy and paste because I already know we will use the same trigger and the same response, but just give a different numbers. To save my time, I just use the copy and paste. And here the number should be 750, right? But -1 and the +1. -1 +1. And the text this time should be response. So object, trigger, response. When you go back, it will jump to the trigger, but it won't change back to the object. The reason is we haven't set it up. So the first range is for the second page, and this one is for the third one. We haven't made the first one, so we add, copy and paste the trigger and rename it to first page. And this time it should be -1. The range of it should -1 to 1. And the text is object. So now you finish our third demo. Do you have any questions about the range? Oh, I have to say sorry again. We only have 4 minutes left. As I said, this workshop is 1 hour workshop. However, we still have several demos I prepared. So I will keep teaching, and if you don't have time, I'm recording it, so you can check the recording later. But if you have time, yes, please follow me and finish another 2 demos together. I may ask for explaining the last part. What do you mean the last part? You mean range? Third page? This one. Oh, so if we don't do that, let's turn off it. That means this trigger won't work. So you can see when I jump to the trigger, but when I jump it back, it won't change. The reason why is we haven't given it range for the first page. So that's why I added. And when I scroll to the first page, my scroll offset should be 0, right? But we cannot set the 0 equal to 0 in the range. So that's why I gave it 0 -1 and 0 +1. When I scroll into this area, and then my text will change to object. Did I answer your question? Now let's jump to the first demo. First demo is very simple, and please pay attention. First demo, we will use your native keyboard to make a typing interaction. But why you should pay attention, because it is too simple to catch up. What I will do is done. Now I can use my native keyboard. Did you follow me what I did to make this interaction? What I did is just add input layer. Here, click this text icon, and then find the input, this layer. That's all. And then you can start using your real keyboard to type in anything you want, and any language you have. You set it up on your native keyboard. If you are still using a ProtoPie player, you can try to send it to your ProtoPie player, and let's try use your native keyboard. When I typing on the preview window, actually I'm using my physical keyboard, right? And if you want to test it on your real device, like your phone or tablet, you can send it to your ProtoPie player. Yeah, typing interaction is very simple, but we have more features, so I'd like to give you more introduction. Let's select this input layer and go to its property panel. Let's go through the input layer property one by one. So here, those settings we already learned from before. Almost each response or layers, they have those properties. Let's start from the text options. So here you can choose the single line or multi-line. So if you choose multi-line, that means when you tap it, you can see the line will be, in this case, the default is the 2 lines. And when you choose the multi-line, you can find one option called auto height below it. This option is only be shown when you choose multi-line. So if you change it back to the single line, you can't find it. But when you choose a multi-line or multiple line, then you can find it. And if you click it and go to the preview window, what you can see is, based on my length of my contents, the height of the input layer will be changed automatically. Yeah. So this feature we added this year. So if you are using the version over 5.1 maybe, and then you will find this feature. And here you can also give it max height, for example, 30 or 40. And then as you can see, first it will extend the, 40 is still too small, maybe 15. When I tap, the height of it will be extended first. But once my content is too much, it needs to over 50, then the contents will be disappeared. You cannot see the top contents if you set it, if you give it max height. For this demo, we will only type in usernames or password, those simple and short contents. So let's just select the single line in this case. And the text here means the default contents. So let's say I tapped something here, and before I start typing, some contents already here. And when you focus in, so when you cursor showing into this input layer, we call this focus in. You can delete it, or also you can keep adding it. But for this demo, same, we won't use it. So just leave it as empty. Font, weight, size, align, those things other design tools also have. I think you guys already are familiar with it. And for the placeholder is you can think is a kind of hint for users. So I want to let users please leave your username here in this input box. Then I just change the placeholder to username. And as you can see here, it's showing me user, please type in your name. So this is placeholder. And also you can set up these layers, background, color, border, shadow, pending. And here we have a keyboard options. So what is keyboard options? First one is a tab. Let's say this is my username, right? And this is my, let's say it's my password. So let me change the placeholder first. Password. When I tap my username, I can see the contents I tapped here. But when I see when I tap my password, generally, I don't want to show my password on my screen. So in this case, you can select this password layer and go to the keyboard option and select the text password. And then, as you can see, the contents you type in here is invisible, is invisible. Also, we have other options. If you choose the number, that means the default keyboard is number. So users only can type in numbers. In this case, maybe you ask user to give phone numbers. Maybe you need to change the type to number. But here, let me leave it to text password. And for the username, I will keep using the text this time. And then you will find a return key. So what is return? Return is this button, this blue button. After you're typing, you need to tap it. And what's the label it should be? You can customize it here. It could be go, next, send, search, or done. In this case, you can say next or done. It depends on you. For me, I would like to choose next. And theme is the keyboard theme. If you like dark, you can use dark. And for me, I will keep it, I will use in the default setting. Okay, so this is our input layer. And this is also we explain the property of it. Yeah, we finished our first demo. Is this too simple, too easy? However, I'm not satisfied with my UX in this case. As you can see, after I type in my username, let's say Leia, at most case, users will tap go or tap the password. But currently, I'm using the physical keyboard, right? So I prefer to tap the Enter key. But after I tap the Enter key, what I want is the cursor could show me in the password layer automatically. But here, I have to click it by myself. So the UX, I don't think is user friendly. So what I want to do is how can I ask this cursor can be shown automatically when I tap the Enter key. And the triggers and the responses relate to typing in ProtoPie, we have three. One is focus trigger, one is return trigger, another one is focus response. So two focus, but one is trigger, one is response. What is focus? For those three, first, they only can work with your input layer. Before that, let me rename them. So this one is username layer. This one is password. Focus. So when I choose the username, that means when I focus in what I want to happen. So focus in means this one, this action. What you can see this cursor is blanking. So this is focus in. When I focus in, maybe I want to give the border color to ask user to let user know now you are typing something into this username input box. So this is focus in, right? Focus in. And focus out is I tap the other place and then you can see the cursor is disappeared. So that is a focus out. So I can use focus out to ask the border color could be changed back. And what the original initial border color, you need to select this input layer and go to the property panel. And then here you can find the border color value and copy it and paste it to this border response. So when I focus in, I can see the border color changed. And when I focus out, you cannot see it. But the border color will change back. And what is return? Return is if you are using the physical keyboard, that means the Enter key. But if you are testing it on your real real device. So on your phone, this return means when you tap this button, the go button or next button or search button, depends on your layer. Anyway, it's this button. So on your phone, when users tap this button, maybe you want to send them to another page or show an error message. So that is a return trigger. In this case, what I want to make is when I tap the enter key for this username layer, and then I want get a focus into the password layer, right? So the return keys object is username, and the focus response object should be password, and it should be focus in. Focus in. So layer and enter key. Then as you can see, the cursor will move to the next layer automatically. Okay, then what's the difference between return and the focus out? Because when I tap the enter key, is also my cursor will focus out. The difference between them is depending on how you set up the property. So go to the input layer property. You can find a setting here, focus out option. The default is I checked both of them. So when I tap the enter key, then my focus will out. Another one is when I tap the outside of my input layer, then it will also focus out. So if you check this one, check the tap enter key, that means actually when you tap your enter key, the trigger, this return trigger will work, but focus trigger also will be work. This focus out will also work. But if you cancel it, only left the tap outside of input layer. You can see when I tap the outside, I'm not typing the enter key, right? Return key. So that's why the cursor will not move to the next input layer, but the border will change back to the default color. So this is the difference. Okay. Now let's take a break. Do you have any questions related to typing? No. If not, we will move to the last demo. So the last demo is, I want to make this scenario more complicated. I want to ask users first, your username have to be ProtoPie. If your username is ProtoPie, then you can keep typing your password. So focus into the password. But if your username is not ProtoPie, I'd like to show you an error message. So please, you're typing a wrong username. In this case, what is the trigger? So the trigger, it depends on the designers defining. If you want to use the enter key, use the return, then you can use the return for username. But or you can also use the focus out for this username. In this case, I would like to use return. So I will add more responses below the same trigger. When I tap the enter key for it, then I want to have a condition to judge. Does my user's name's contents, so text this property means the contents. Does the contents is ProtoPie? If it is ProtoPie, now please focus to the password. However, if the condition is not, if my user's name contents is not ProtoPie, then let's say this text, I want to change it to wrong username. After you made it, please review the interactions we made this here. You can read it. Even let's say several days later, you come back to this Py file and you want to figure out what things you made, and then you can just read it. I can read is, when I tap the enter key, if my username's contents is ProtoPie, then something will happen. But if not equal to ProtoPie, then another interaction will happen. So the ProtoPie, the logic when you use ProtoPie, just like how you describe interaction to others. Yeah. And here you can see if my name is not ProtoPie, then it's showing me a wrong username. If I said is ProtoPie, then it will focus to the password. And of course, we haven't finished this interaction because you need to make sure when user tap a right username, this text should change back, right? Those interactions, you please made it by yourself after this workshop. Our purpose is just let you know to understand the condition, this feature. So please take more time to finish this prototype by yourself. For condition, as you guys know, there are two kinds of condition. One is or, one is and. So if your name is ProtoPie or Leia, then your username is correct. So in that case, it's a or, right? In ProtoPie, when you try to make a or condition, you have to make several conditions separately. Ask this. So if your user's name contents is equal to Leia, then the same response you want to happen. So in this case, you have to give it two conditions, but they are all relationship. Or relationship. And another one is and. So you have to, your username have to be ProtoPie and what? So for example, your username have to be ProtoPie and your password have to be 1234. In that case, you should click this add button, plus button, then add second condition into same condition. So you can find condition 1 and condition 2, and your password, the contents of password have to be 1234. Only in this case, then the focus will work. So again, when you use try to make and, have to click this button. And if you want to make or, you need to create create another condition separately. Okay, but I want to make this interaction more complicated. Currently, we just judged the username. We haven't talked about the password. Let's say when I tap the return key here for the password, I want to judge that the user typing enough characters. So it should over 6, let's say. And same, I need to use condition, right? If it's over 6, then I want this sign of background color can change to red. So that means now you can click it and jump to the next page. So that's why I give it color and change it to red. But how can I know the length of my contents? Here, when I select the password, there's no any property can tell me the length of the contents. It can only tell me the contents, the password, what I tapped here, but it's not mean the length. So how can I know it? In this case, we need to use formula. And when you select the formula, click this icon. Then you can see a typing bar. However, I don't know what this bar means. What should I do here and what formula I need to use? If you don't know or you have any question related to formula, please click this question mark. Then you will be sent to our documentation page. Here you can find more explanation and tutorials related to formula. You can use formulas to make a like tab bar, spinner, and ripple effect. And when you jump to the function page, you will find a formula called length. So length, as you can see here, is told me this formula is for calculating the number of character in a text. That is what we want, right? So let's say if I tap hello and then the result of it should be 5 because there are 5 characters. So that's why, oh, I know I need to use length and then go back to ProtoPie. And here I tap length. And here we need to know the text, what I tapped into password, but I don't know how should I know that? It's not a static contents. It's not always ProtoPie. It's not always 1, 2, 3, 4. How can I know that? So same, go back to the formula page and find the layer property, this page, and go down. You will find this one, the text in a text layer or input layer. So if you use this formula, so this formula is the layer name and doc with the text. With this, ProtoPie can tell you what the contents in the text layer or input layer. Actually, this one is also work for input layer. So, okay, I know. Let me go back. Here, I need to tap my layer name, right? Layer name doc text. But my layer name is a password, is too long. What I prefer to do is click this plus button, and then ProtoPie will show you the whole layer's name here. And select the password here, doc and text. The length of this text. Okay. Now we already know the length of it, but then we need to know, does it over or equal to 6? If it over or equal to 6, then you can click this button and jump to the next page. But if not, how can we set up the if not? So it's same, select the formula. And this time, because I already know I need to use the length, so I just tap it here directly. Password text. And if it's smaller than 6 or less than 6 character. So one is over 6, one is smaller than 6. And the formula we used here is length. If it's smaller than less than 6, then I want to change this error message to, let's say, another text. Wrong, please tap more than 6 characters. So I can show this arrow message and maybe give this arrow message a color response. So red. Now I'm only typing 2 characters. So that's why when I tap the enter key, I can see this arrow message. And if I tap more than 6, then this button will be active. That means I can tap it. This is the most complicated demo we will learn in this intermediate workshop. Formula, we use the formula and the condition together, combine them. For the formula, actually is a very powerful feature in ProtoPie, and we have a lot of other formulas, like you can know the length of your character, or you can replace it. And also use this one, index of. You can know, does it including a specific characters in the contents? If it included, then it will give you a number. But if it's not include a specific character in your contents, then the result will be the minus. So use this one. You can also ask users, you have to, for example, have to use at gmail.com, right? You can require users to type in specific contents. Okay, so this is the demo I prepared for this workshop, and we already finished all of them. Do you have any questions related to condition or formulas? If not, if you have questions, please let me know in the Q&A window, and I will go back to my deck. Let's review what we learned today. So today we learned a lot of features here, but I haven't mentioned the sensor. For sensor, I didn't prepare any demo because it's very simple. Just let's say this is a new file and this is layer. And in ProtoPie, we have a sound, tiered, compass, and 3D rotate, these three sensor responses. And whatever you use, let's say sound, and we choose any responses below it, you can see the same interface here as chain. Do you remember? We said it before. So the sound means ProtoPie can know your dash bell of your sound. When your dash bell is change from 40 to 80, then how this size should change, you can set it here. So the logic, the way you use the sound and or other tiered compass or 3D touch, when you add other responses, you will always say the same interface. So that's why I didn't prepare any demos, but even that you can also learn how to use it by yourself. Okay, so during two workshops, we learned a lot of triggers and responses. And the next workshop will be our last workshop, so the advanced workshop, and we will learn other triggers and the responses we haven't learned before. Yeah, congratulations, we already finished our second workshop. And if you want to share your demo with me, we have an Instagram account, ProtoPie official, I think that's his name. So when you share your demo on the Instagram, please don't forget to tag us, and we will reshare it and show it to other more users. Cool. Yeah, that's all. Let me stop sharing my screen, and if you have any questions, I will I will remain 2 minutes more and answer your question. Oh, it seems a lot of our ProtoPie members here. Empty, yeah. Bye bye. Charlie, bye. Thank you. Harry, thank you. Bye bye. Charlie. By the way, Charlie is the designer who helped me to design the prototype, the assets you guys are using. Thank you, Charlie, for your support. And yeah, Summer. Oh, I'm very happy to hear from you that it's a very helpful workshop to you. See you at the next workshop. I think it could be one weeks later, December 7th, as I remember. Yeah. Something. Yes, thank you, something. Okay, let's say goodbye and take care. Bye bye.